Wall-mounted mechanical art. Welcome to the area of the house where we mount art on the wall, and I'm pumped to be able to finally contribute something to this beautiful art wall. This has been a vision that's existed in my head for a very long time, and so I'm really pumped to be able to bring it into reality. So let's jump right into it. I'm Jay, this is JBV Creative. Let's create. Before we begin, I have to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, digitmakers.ca. They provided me with this D3D premium PLA filament. It's amazing filament, gets the job done, and is very affordable. So check them out. All right, let's get to it. All right, this project took me probably the longest out of all my projects so far to design, but it is probably one of the easiest to put together. So let's do this. It's gonna be like 5 minutes after about 40 hours of printing. But first step is you're gonna take these two main frame pieces, and this large piece is just gonna slot onto this small piece. Just push it down, make sure that you get it to line up. That's it, you're already like 75% of the way there. So next thing you're gonna do is take this long shaft, the hex on it, and that's gonna slot into this hole right here. Then you're going to take this hexagon sprocket, slide that onto the shaft, take this single sprocket, slide that on top of that, and then you're gonna find this little A-frame thing with the bigger hole. There's two of them. You want the one with the bigger hole. And that's gonna slide over top of that with this spacer facing down into the sprocket. Next, you're gonna grab your crank thing and the knob, C-clamp that knob onto the crank, and then C-clamp this crank onto the end of that shaft. So next you're gonna take the shorter of these two short shafts, and that's gonna slot into the bottom hole in the top right corner. And then you're gonna grab one of these single round sprocket things, and that's gonna go on there, C-clamp it on, boom. And then you're gonna grab one of these shafts right here, that's gonna go into the other hole. Now you're gonna take one of these sprockets with the spacer or the extension on it. That slides onto that shaft. One of these single sprockets slides onto the end of that. Next, you're gonna grab the other short shaft, slot that into one of the remaining single sprockets, and that is going to slot into this piece right here on the spacer side. C-clamp it on. Now take the whole piece and slot it onto the top right part of the frame, and it will just line up with all the holes. And then the fun part, you get to C-clamp the whole thing into place. Cue the C-clamping montage. Okay, next thing you're gonna do is grab this remaining shaft. That's gonna go through the last hole here. And you're gonna take this last sprocket with the spacer that goes onto the shaft. This last single sprocket with the hole goes onto the end of that shaft. Then you're gonna grab this A-frame piece, and with the spacer down towards the sprocket, that's gonna slot onto the top left corner, and then C-clamp that into place. So the main assembly is now done. You just need to put the chain together. So the way that I've divided it is 3 10-piece sections of chain and 2 9-piece sections of chain, and then 5 scoops. In total, there's 53 links in this chain. You need 53 links, but it can be any combination of single chain pieces and scoops. So more scoops mean more balls moving through the system. Less scoops obviously mean less balls. This part is up to you. You can do however you want, and you can choose to print a single chain link or the links in 10 or 9. Every combination is available in the files, and they just clip apart or clip back together. Even when they print all together, you can still clip them apart. It's really more just to make it easier to lay out. Take your sections, put the scoops on the end of them, and then start linking them together. And now that you have your full chain, you gotta just feed it through the system. So the only thing you have to keep in mind when you're feeding this into the sprockets is that the scoops have to be going vertical on this side. If you get the scoops vertical on this side, then you know that you got it in the right direction. And I apologize, this is a little bit tricky. It's like probably the hardest part of this whole build. And if you find a better way to assemble this, please let me know in the comments below. But you might just have to just work it through. I'm gonna start on this corner here. Okay, and then I've found that it's easiest to connect the chain in the middle here. You might need to give it a little stretch, but then it just connects together, and boom, just like that, you have yourself a wall mountable marble run. So when you're mounting this onto the wall, there's a couple things you want to keep in mind. The first thing is that you want it to be level. Otherwise it might not work the way it's supposed to. There's the two slots and they're exactly 241 millimeters apart. When you put the screws into the wall, you want the screw head to be just enough out of the wall that when you push this in and push it down, it grips. The screws have to hold it into place against the wall. That way you can crank it with just one hand and it will work properly. Let's go do it. And there it is, wall-mounted mechanical art. I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. There's lots of opportunities for different color variations, and I love seeing the pictures and videos of the pieces that you guys create in your own visions. There's a lot more ideas for wall-mounted concepts like this, so if you like these, let me know in the comments below. Until the next video,